This is Will H. He is the Canadian who got famous in that video. You know, unfortunately it was mistitled and everything, but we're here with him to kind of learn his side of the story, clear up a lot of the confusion behind it, because, you know, our channel saw that video both on Chinese social media, and then people also reported it on American social media. And like, there was a video that I saw before I even saw the original, where it was like, it showed a picture of a rich guy, and then it showed like a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, and it's like, yeah, this is the guy. And so like, there was so much like misinformation, the misinformation that came out of that misinformation. But anyways, what happened was, after I made my initial video, Will contacted me, he emailed me, and we've been emailing back and forth once in a while. And now, since Xiaodong talked about it, I said, let's bring Will on. So dude, Will, welcome.
Thank you. It's been a long time coming. I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. So, first of all, thank you for contacting me that first time when, you know, I got the information wrong, and then thanks for agreeing to come on.
Yeah, no problem. No worries. Actually, thanks for like clarifying everything. I really respect that.
Mm-hmm. So let's go through, we'll talk about your martial arts journey in a second, but let's just clarify that incident, since that's what everyone wants to know. So it was 2012, and from my understanding, you had a friend that was like, hey, Will, you know, you've been training Muay Thai, you've been training, let's get you to like spar people. Is that kind of how it happened?
Okay, so basically it was around 2012. I recently was unemployed at that time. I just got unemployed. And then my childhood friend that recently went back to China, right, said, yeah, why don't you just come down here, you know, we chill, you know. It's a new country, right? So why not explore, right? So I took all my savings. I went to China. And then, so when we caught up, I was saying, yeah, we were doing like, I was doing like something called Muay Thai for like maybe around a year or so. And obviously he would be like, yo, you any good, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm amazing, you know, obviously. But then because my coach was always like, yeah, you're amazing, you're the best. He has to instill that in you, right?
And you were training with him like private lessons, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was taking personal training only,
mm-hmm.
right? For approximately a year. I was training probably once every week or two,
mm-hmm.
right? On and off. Like sometimes I would train like a lot, maybe 3 days a week, and then I'll just like off for like 2 weeks, you know? Like one of those situations.
Yeah.
But either way, I was really into it. I'm still passionate about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still fighting. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so then your friend kind of like, oh, are you any good? And, you know, because you trained for a year, you're like, yeah, I'm okay, right? That's how you thought.
Yeah, definitely. So I thought I was really good. Well, obviously I knew my limits, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, of course I was like, yeah, definitely I have potential. My teacher told me I have potential, you know,
mm-hmm.
like I could become champion if I want to, you know,
mm-hmm.
like that
mm-hmm.
mentality. But obviously I had a long way to go, and I knew that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so go ahead.
Yeah. So we were, he was looking for gyms. I guess he knew a few gyms, and one of them was Xiaodong's gym. So during that week when I got there, we went to Xiaodong's gym. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I see. And so when Xiaodong told me about the incident, he said that you guys initially asked to spar his students, but he had no students there. So then he's like, Xiaodong said you asked him if you could spar him. Is that kind of how it happened, from your memory?
I actually don't remember how I ended up sparring him,
mm-hmm.
or sparring or training with him.
Yeah.
I wanted to go there to train initially. I wasn't like, okay, yeah, bring me like the best fighter in China and I'm just going to like F him up. It wasn't like that at all. I was
mm-hmm.
like, yeah, let's take me to a gym, you know, I might learn new things. It's like a foreign land, right? So you will learn something. You will learn something. Sure. So I ended up sparring Xiaodong. Yeah.
I see.
Sparring.
Yeah, I mean, it started out maybe the first few seconds sparring, but it got escalated. And, you know, when I rewatched the video recently, I was listening very closely to the background, right? There seemed to be a lot of people in the background, and that's what I was going to ask you about. I know some of them were your friends. How many people were part of Xiaodong's gym that were watching? Do you remember?
I think it was pretty even, actually. I think in total, there were like 10 people in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Total, I believe. Yeah. So my friend, I came with my friend, but obviously he had like 2 or 3 friends with them.
Mm-hmm.
I just met them in China, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I see. And then, do you remember who was recording? Was that person one of your friend's friends, or was it one of Xu Xiaodong's friends?
Okay, so I know there were multiple phones recording at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I believe there were different angles of the tape. Yeah.
I see, but ultimately, I think only one ended up going viral online. The angle that we all know now, the one that was kind of filmed maybe a little bit diagonally.
I think there were. I think I recall like 2 angles that were online. Yeah.
Wow. So maybe if I really dig, I can find the other angle too. I don't know if I want to do that, but
pretty well.
because the angle that we all saw in the West was like, it stopped very quickly after he went a little bit overboard, right? I wonder if there was another angle that kind of kept filming a little afterwards just to see like what happened, because like if you look at the original video, he went a little overboard, it seems like, and then he kind of like did a very like, I don't know if passive aggressive is the right word, but he's like, oh, 不好意思, meaning like, oh, I'm sorry, like, but in like a sarcastic way. So it's like,
okay, so my version is that like when I wanted to like just play around with them, right? Mm-hmm. So we went through like the rules, like no elbow, no knees to the head, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. But if I knew he was going to kick me in the face, I'll be like, yo, elbows, yo, knees to the face, like everything, right? The first time I clipped them, I just stopped. Like I had no intention to hurt him, right? Mm-hmm. So if I had like that intention to hurt him, like I wouldn't stop if I like clip him cleanly. So I checked on him, I'm like, yo, are you okay? And then he's like, keep going. Second time I clipped him, like, okay, use full power. By that time, I already know, like, okay, shit, this might turn out to be a fight, right? but then, like, think about it in my position, right? Like, if I hit a guy and then, like, he goes like, okay, keep going, it's okay, and I go like, no, I don't want to fight anymore, that kind of makes me look like, yo, I'm just going to take 3 shots at this guy, right? And then just, like, run away and go like, oh, I'm sorry. Right, so obviously I'm like, I have to keep going, and like back then I was pretty green, so like my mindset was like pretty, like I didn't really know like the gym etiquette that well. Right? Third time I hit him, I bloodied his nose, and at that point it was like no turning back. So I had to go full force. I'm like, at least I went for it, right? And then after I got knocked out, TKO knocked out. I realized I got baited into a fight. And then later on, like I think like a few weeks after, when I saw the video online, I'm like, oh shit, I got set up. You know what I mean? I didn't get baited, but I got set up, right? So then that pissed me off for a little bit, but I got over it. Yeah.
Did you go to lunch with Xu Xiaodong after, like the day after? Yeah.
So I went to, I believe, dinner, maybe lunch, same thing, right? So. Yeah, I ate with him. He was cool. So it's like, that's why I just felt like really, I like got caught off guard, Because like before the incident, we were cool. Like I shook his hand, like we talked shit, whatever. Like after the incident, I shook his hand, I took a picture with him, like everything was cool. So I'm just like, after when everything happened, I'm just like, oh fuck, where's that coming from, right?
Did you try to like ask him or like after you saw the video, did you try to reach out to him and be like, dude, what happened?
No, I don't know him like that. I don't have his contact.
Oh.
Right? Like that, the day when he did that was the day I first met him. Right? So like even now, like I have none of his contacts. Right?
I see.
Yeah.
That's so interesting. So it's almost like the video floated around, and it seemed like from talking to Xiaodong, he didn't really know how it got uploaded, and like you didn't know how it got uploaded. So like there's this mystery: who uploaded the video, and how did it go so viral? Like that's something that we might never know.
So I have a theory. Okay. So my theory is that like his student probably like made up a clickbait. Right, and just said, oh, like because the title changed from like gangsters versus martial artists to like, oh, Muay Thai versus Chinese Kung Fu to like, oh, rich kid challenged some dude, some master, right? Well, like the titles were like ever changing. They were like changing all the time, right? I guess Xiaodong just went with it, right? He's like, oh look, I'm getting like 3 million hits, right? Like just go with it. I don't know this guy, right? Yeah. He's like all the way like halfway around the world, anyways, right? So it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
But it's like in my head, I'm like thinking, why did it take him so long to like come out with it? Like, oh, the titles aren't true. So my theory is that like it's just bad PR. Like, you know, like the video itself, if you really look into it, if you're like a trained martial artist, you can see that like I didn't want to hurt him, right? And I didn't come in there looking for a fight, right? So it makes him look like the bad guy. So obviously he has to come out with the truth and go like, oh, hey, look, this is what happened. This guy's cool. This guy didn't challenge me, whatever, you know?
Yeah.
But then right now he's like, the way he's like going at it right now, it's like he's kind of like the Robin Hood or the Dark Horse, right? Like he's fighting, like I feel for him actually. Like he's fighting China. Like China's like one of the strongest countries in the world.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I'm kind of rooting for him, but at the same time, it's like, yo, this guy just beat me up for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. The one thing I will say, though, is looking at the clip, it looks like to your knees, you were probably aiming at the body, but it did hit him in the face, right?
Yeah, definitely. At that time, I wasn't experienced enough to, like, aim properly. Right? But definitely, I rewatched the tape recently, like, for, like, a week, and I got full palm on him. And then he even had like that, you know, just holding his stomach. No, I could just hit him in the face right away, right?
Yeah.
I knocked actually 2 people out like that.
Wow.
In the face. So, yeah. Now I have a record of, my amateur record is 4-4 and 2 kills, and my professional record is 1-1 right now.
Wow. Well, dude, why don't we talk about your martial arts journey? So let's start from the beginning. Were you one of those kids who kind of grew up watching kung fu movies and stuff? And you were born in America, but you went to Canada, right?
I'm actually technically a U.S. citizen because I was born in L.A. I moved to Toronto probably when I was like 2. Yeah. So I kind of identify myself as a Canadian for most. Yeah. I'm Taiwanese descent. So my parents are from Taiwan, and they're immigrants. Yeah.
I see. And so when did you start the martial arts training?
I fell in love with fighting because of Dragon Ball Z, probably.
Oh, Dragon Ball Z, nice.
But it's the most unrealistic one.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. Did you ask your parents, hey, take me to kung fu, take me to karate, or how did that happen?
Okay, so when I was probably 7 or 8, I begged my parents to take me to like any martial arts school, right? They weren't really into it, so they took me to like an after-school community service kung fu class. Yeah. So the first day, it was actually pretty interesting. The first day, the instructor was like, he said this story, but like there was like his student. And like he trained him for like 10 years, and he used his kung fu on another person, and then he chopped his arm off.
Ooh.
So then after that, I just like wouldn't go.
So it was a story, right? You didn't witness it.
I didn't witness it. Right?
Okay, right. But his story was he chopped someone's arm off with his kung fu.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So yeah, after that, I was like pretty put off from martial arts. Until probably 21, 22 was my first Muay Thai class, yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. So basically you took a long break, and after that you did Muay Thai, and then like a year into that Muay Thai training, that's when you had that match with Xiaodong. The match with Xiaodong.
Yeah.
Wow, so yeah, it's like just when you describe that, you were very green, I think the word you used, that is kind of a good way to describe it. Like you had a break in martial arts, then you kind of just trained a little bit. So yeah, that is like not a standard kind of like martial arts journey, but you know, I'm glad you got back into it. But yeah, it's almost like having just that 1 year training with a private trainer. It's unfortunate that your friends kind of like told you, made you go and like spar with Xiaodong.
Definitely, there was a lot of pressure. Pressure, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I look at it as like I was basically making a fool out of myself, and he was too. You know, there was like no clear winner. Yeah. Like, yeah, we basically both sucked. Yeah. That's how I look at it. I look at the tape. I'm like, I'm not supposed to be able to even touch him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not even supposed to be able to like get that many hits on them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not even supposed to bloody hit those. I think he was surprised, and I was surprised. I'm like, oh shit, I hit him. And he's like, oh shit, he hit me.
Yeah.
You know? It was like one of those situations. Yeah. And then like everyone's watching and everyone's like talking shit. So
yeah. Like the people in the audience, and I mentioned that in my most recent video. It was like they obviously probably didn't train. They needed to be quiet, man. They were like, come on, yeah, use full force. Oh my god, that's like the worst environment.
Yeah, you know how people can be like, right?
Yeah. And it's like, it reminds me, when you go watch UFC events live, the audience is so stupid. They literally, if people start grappling on the ground, they'll go like, woo, or something, just to call out. They, in their minds, they're like, oh, there's no knockouts happening.
Yeah. But at least Japan, they're a little silent.
Yeah, true.
Art, right? Yeah, definitely.
Wow. When you had dinner with Xiaodong, what did you guys talk about?
Not much. You know why? Okay, so 其实我的国语蛮好的. You know what I mean? So like I could like really like I have like almost full understanding when you talk. So I like to just be silent and see if people talk shit.
Oh.
Right? And especially like I'm in Beijing, right? So it's like that Beijing or that Beijing accent.
Yeah.
Right? So whenever I talk, they make fun of me.
Obviously. Of course. Chinese people love doing that.
Right? You know how it is.
I will tell you one thing though, Will. What I learned is sometimes, especially the ladies, they're not actually making fun of you. They find it cute. They find like a non-standard Mandarin accent, especially spoken by someone growing up in the West, they find it cute. But a lot of times the ladies in China, like, the sense of humor is not like the same there. So like a lot of ladies in China don't understand how to like phrase it as a sense of humor. So it sounds like they're making fun of you. I've gone through that too. Eventually a lot of girls are like, no, it's cute. We're not actually trying to make fun of you. It's like, we find it endearing. That's why we're like talking smack. You know, it's like, that's something I learned. But I think for guys, probably, if guys are talking smack, they're really talking smack about like the accent.
Yeah, there's China's really big, right? So there's different regions, especially the Dongbei girls. They're like dudes, man. They're in a way more manly than the men, because you know in wartime the men always surrender, right? That they'll come up to you and ask for your number, and you're just like, what?
Yeah,
right? Yeah. The southern girls are usually like more skinnier, right? More smaller, or
Wow.
Like everyone's different, yeah.
So, okay, so you kind of sat there, you're like, all right, I'm just going to listen, and did anyone talk any smack or anything like that?
Xiaodong didn't really say much because he was like the only guy there, because he didn't bring any friends and it was mostly my friends. So he didn't really say much. He didn't really talk shit, and then he wasn't that cocky about it either.
Interesting.
So that's why like I was really caught off guard, like, oh, you know, everything's cool. I just got beat up. That's it. Right?
Wow. So it was like, in a way, kind of an awkward dinner then. Like, he didn't really talk much. You didn't talk much. It was mostly the other people talking.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty funny. And if there were girls at the table, they would just be like, whoa, 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 like, just talking, like that kind of talk.
It was a sausage fest, but no girls.
Oh, no girls. So it's like a sausage fest, but like it was mostly your friends. I see.
Yeah. It's actually all my friends.
Wow. Did he pay for it? Did your friends pay for the dinner?
Yeah. So they paid for the dinner, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so interesting. And then kind of like it just, it was like you thought, okay, that was all. And then like weeks later, you were like, what the? Oh.
I think at that time he wasn't that known, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he really wasn't. After that, did it affect your martial arts journey at all? Or were you like, oh, I want to train really hard now?
Definitely, it gave me more drive. Actually, Xiaodong helped me win my first fight.
Oh.
Yeah. He, in, I think 2 years, a little bit under 2 years after that incident. Well, actually, I overstayed for like a little bit under a year. I went back to the West and I trained for like approximately a year, and I had my first fight. Yeah. And Xiaodong helped me win my first fight by like, he gave me this mentality, like, right before the fight, like, what's the worst that could happen? Yeah. Like, get knocked down, put on YouTube?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
So then I was very calm. Like, I still am very calm before my fights. Yeah, just because of that situation. Well, actually, I just credit that situation. And obviously, there's a lot of other factors. Yeah. And I basically Xiaodong my first opponent.
Wow.
So yeah. So basically, I was just absorbing all the hits, and once he got tired, or once I saw the opening, I just like went for it. Yeah, so he got me my first KO, my first fight, my first KO.
Wow.
And it was Panama too. So I traveled all the way to Panama.
Wow.
Yeah. So I traveled all the way to Panama for something called Muay Thai nights. Yeah, it's like champions fight in that card. Like it's very prestigious. So for my first fight, I was very honored. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. How did it feel to go to Panama? Man, I've never been to Panama, so I don't even know like what is there.
It was really weird because like in Panama they use American currency only, and I thought they yeah. So I thought it would be like they'll have like some Spanish currency or their own thing. And it's like no, they use American currency. It's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Wow, that is something very surprising.
Yeah.
But I guess I mean America basically, from my understanding, they helped Panama break away from, I think it was whatever country that was south of them, and then so like basically the entire country of Panama couldn't have gotten started without American intervention. So it makes sense that they still have American currency.
Well, they blame it on like some dollar or something. I forgot what they call it, but apparently they made some currency and they just like just screwed everything up. I don't know the specifics.
Yeah.
My second fight was a tournament. It was TBA. Have you heard of it?
TBA, have not heard about it.
Oh, it's one or the biggest tournament in North America. So basically, if you win TBA, you're basically the shit for A class, at least. There's a C class, B class, A class. So I went into C class, and so my first fight in Panama, actually, I fought for 70 kilos. So there was like that weight difference, right? So that means when I fought Xiaodong, I was approximately, I walked around 160, 165. And then when I fought in Panama, I was 155. Yeah. So, and then at that time, he actually told me he was above 200. So there was like that 3-4 weight class difference.
Wow.
I definitely felt it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and like we like to call him, back then he was skinny Xiaodong, so imagine what weight class he is now. Like he's packing so much power in his hits now.
Yeah.
Wow.
I actually think he fights a lot differently now. He got much better. Yeah, from what I've seen. Yeah. Makes sense. But definitely I got better too, right?
Yeah. So it's like, okay, you had the Muay Thai nights and then you had the TBA. And then, what happened then after the TBA fight?
Okay, so after the TBA, so I fought in TBA C class. I went all the way to the finals actually. So I lost the belt. Let's see. So everyone I lost to were like either national champions or like just like some straight professional. Like it was pretty overmatched. I was always basically the underdog. Well, after TBA, I lost the finals. I got this drive, right? So I started training more, but then I got injured. I like just basically tweaked my knee. My whole I think it was patellar dislocated. Dislocation. Yeah. So in my gym, it basically everyone just heard a huge pop. They didn't know what it was though, but it was my knee.
Oh man.
So my knee actually went like this big. Yeah. I have a picture of it. It's pretty gruesome. Yeah.
Wow. And so, of course, it took you a while to rehab that and everything.
Definitely. It took me a year to like fully like get back into it, like into training. But I never really got over the mental state, like mentally over my knee until like recently.
Yeah. It's crazy. I have a little bit of a knee injury too. And it's like I probably still haven't completely got over it. I still probably walk a little strange because I'm still not trying to put like too much pressure on it sometimes. And yeah, it's crazy. Like I had a neck injury too, and my experience with my neck injury actually sounds like very similar to like your experience with Xiaodong. It was a guy. It was jiu-jitsu. He wanted to just roll. He wanted to roll, and I told him, dude, he was a professional fighter. I'm like, dude, you're a professional. I'm just a guy that with a channel. Like, I'm not qualified to roll with you. He's like, it's okay, man. I'll go gentle. And like within like the first like 30 seconds, he like De La Hiva sweeps me so hard, and I whiplashed my neck. I don't smack my head on the ground or anything, but my neck whiplashed. So like, it's like I basically I was kind of set up like he was probably having a bad day. He's like, I want to take it out on this guy. So, but like I'm still kind of like affected by it. I started training again in boxing a few months ago, but like I was still affected by this neck injury for a very long time. It's probably taken me like another year to get over it. So I feel you, man.
The pain, and then you like start like thinking of the risk, right?
Yeah, start thinking of the risk, and then like you get stressed out, and because your body's so used to paying attention to that area, naturally the muscles and stuff just contract. And so it's like, even if it's not really injured, just the muscles are reacting differently now. So like, you're like, is it injured again? Oh.
Yeah, definitely mental hurdles, right?
Yeah. And that's another reason I wanted to bring you on, because, you know, you got past so much, or you got past this like undeserved beating, and then it went viral, but you still fought, and then you had these injuries that you got past, and you're still, you know, competing and fighting now.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason, right? But I just feel like everyone's different. Like for me, like I gravitate towards chaos, like ever since I was small, right? Mm-hmm. Like my childhood wasn't the best childhood. Mm-hmm. So there was always that like, chaos, just depression, chaos, like just a lot of abuse, right? Mm-hmm. So then like once you get older and then we're wiser, right? There's that gap, there's that void, right? That you have to fill. Yeah. And like if I feel it in real life, obviously like I'm probably going to die in like a week. So I have to like somehow contain it. And for me, that's martial arts, right? So up to the extent of when I was 21, my life has been crazy. After like I could see how like a lot of people go like, oh yeah, Muay Thai saved my life, right? Because Muay Thai to them is like different, right? Different for everyone. Like for them it's something, and for someone else is different. For me, it's like it saved my life because I can contain the chaos. Like I don't need to like flip out, or like I don't need to like do something stupid just to like, you know, fulfill my like adrenaline rush. Right? Yeah.
I totally feel you. It's like, I think that's what I realized with martial arts in my mind too, because I very much like you. I had a lot of martial arts in my life when I was younger, but I kept getting injured because, you know, the thing about Kung Fu is Kung Fu works for a specific body type, and it just wasn't me. Like, I'm very, I have like long arms and long legs, and Kung Fu just was like hurting all my joints and stuff like that. So I quit Kung Fu once I started growing, but like I needed martial arts in my life. So in a way, I had to rediscover that martial arts was like the one way to contain all the chaos. But it took me, I was like around your age, like I was 21 or 22 when I realized, oh, this is what I was missing in my life. I should have had this. Like I stepped into a Kempo gym, you know, and I didn't even know what Kempo was. It just like looked cool, and it turned out the guy who ran the gym was a very famous actor. So like, okay, I mean, it's cool. And then I was like, oh, it's like Kung Fu, but it's slightly more practical because our stances are like more for like actual power and not just like for show. So like then I'm like, oh, and then I got hit a few times. So like we were doing conditioning, I got hit like 6 or 7 times really hard. And I was like, wow, that actually felt okay. Like it, like then you're like, oh wow, it contains this something in you that you didn't even know was missing, but now I know where to like contain it. So it's cool.
There's a lot of self-discovery in martial arts. You learn a lot about yourself. Yeah. Right? And you actually, for me, it's like I learned how strong I am. Yeah. Like basically how strong I am when I have to be. Yeah. Yeah. Right? Especially when you have to. So you put into those situations where you actually have to grow, right?
Yeah. The injury I had when I was in Hawaii, it was the same thing. Like I grew from it. Like I learned, well, I can get past it. And 2, I really started strengthening my neck. Like I'm still strengthening my neck every day. I joke to people, you know, there's like maybe three. If you have to strengthen 3 muscles, strengthen your neck, strengthen your glutes, and strengthen your Kegels. You know, the Kegels. Those are the 3. And then, you know, neck, upper back, I guess would be one category. But like if you had to strengthen some muscles, definitely do your Kegels. But, you know, right now under lockdown, you probably don't need to do your Kegels. Do your glutes, because everyone neglects their glutes, and definitely do your neck and upper back.
For me, it was my ankles. I have weak ankles. So actually, my first trip to Thailand was horrible. Like my 3rd day of training, I twisted my ankle really, really bad. Man. So I was out for like literally like 20 days.
Wow. So like you went to Thailand after China, you're like, I'm going to train. And then it's like, oh, 3rd day, ankle busted.
So I'm so lucky sometimes, and I'm so unlucky.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So for instance, like okay, the Xiaodong thing, so unlucky, right?
Yeah.
But then after like I win my first fight because of Xiaodong, so lucky, right? So it's like the two extremes.
Yeah.
But that's how I feel, right?
Yeah. And you were in Thailand for a year?
Yeah. So I was in Thailand for. Whenever I go to Thailand, I go for a month.
Okay. For a month.
So the visa expires in a month. Obviously, I could go for a visa run, but then, like, obviously, my family wants me back, and I can't leave for that long.
Yeah. Makes sense. So, Will, you have a family now. Did you meet your wife doing Muay Thai, or was it like outside of the martial arts context?
Okay, so I actually taught her Muay Thai really, really early, like probably when I was like 20. After Xiaodong.
Okay.
Yeah, after Xiaodong.
Wow. Did she know about all of that craziness?
Yeah, she knew.
Oh, she did?
When we were dating, she visited me 3 times in China that time when I was stuck in China.
Oh,
yeah. So basically, I couldn't get rid of her.
I guess she really liked you then.
Yeah, I think she liked me.
She's Canadian Chinese like you, or Canadian Taiwanese?
Yeah. So she's she's CBC. She's born in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Her family is from Guangzhou.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool. And then, so now you have kids. Did your kids train in martial arts?
I'm trying to get my son into it, but he's not really that type of a kid right now. He doesn't really like to hit things.
I see.
Yeah. He's more of a thinker, but he does have ADD though. So he loves video games. He does run around, right? But he's not really into martial arts yet.
I see.
Yeah. So right now I'm just trying to make it fun for him. Like everything, I just want to make it fun.
Yeah.
But he's not having it lately. Yeah.
Especially with martial arts, I think the kid has to want it on his or her own eventually. So there's probably going to be some incident and then it's going to spark it, and then the kids will be like, okay, I'm going to try it.
Yeah, definitely. Like, let's say if he gets bullied, or, like he's a senior kindergarten right now, but I'm pretty sure he's going to get held back because of the virus, right?
Oh.
I'm sure everyone's going to get held back like a year.
Yeah. Anyone that can't do online classes, will get held back.
I don't know what's going on right now with that, but it's horrible.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Has it impacted your training at all?
Not really, because me and one of my teammates, we just agree, okay, look, don't train with anyone else, be safe, and I'll just train with you only.
Nice.
Right? So then we just have, and he's a perfect sparring partner too, because he's like same height, same weight, same everything, but different styles, which really helps.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah. So I'm basically more of a forward, like a Muay Thai fighter. So I use my knees and elbows a lot, and I walk forward, right? Well, he's more like a Muay mat. He uses a lot of punches and a lot of work. Yeah, he uses kicks as like a low kick or whatever. So kind of like Dutch, like a hybrid of Dutch style and Muay Thai. Yeah.
Wow, that's so interesting. So it's like he can learn a lot from you. You can learn a lot from him, and that's why it's the perfect. Makes sense.
It's weird because like we train together so much, but yet our styles are like so different. It's like ridiculous. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's almost like, because your styles are so different, one of the two things could happen. One is you guys start becoming more and more alike, or it's like you start really figuring out how to counter each other, so you like diverge more and more and more.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
His hands are so good, and I'm trying to work on my hands right now. My hands are like my weakest point, but it has improved a lot. Yeah.
I see. What are some other things you really like working on when you train Muay Thai?
In terms of what, like the cardio, the strength and conditioning.
Yeah, and in terms of like the striking aspects of it.
Okay. In terms of striking aspects, I just like the simplicity of it. You know, like I like how like what you learn in day one is basically what you're doing like day 1,000,000 or whatever. You know, it's like it's the same kick, but just better.
Yeah.
Right, better timing. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Right? There's just so much to like fighting. There's like so many different styles and all that game planning and all that pressure, right? And all that like overcoming your fears and like growing from it and like just bettering yourself. You know, I just love that.
Yeah. When did you make that decision that you were going to go pro?
Okay, so I don't believe someone's pro until they fight. Well, as for Muay Thai, I don't believe someone's actually pro until like they fight at Lupini or Raja, right? Like until they're at that level.
Mm-hmm.
Like anyone could like really fight at like one of the smaller stadiums, or like, you know, just like, oh, you fight a taxi cab driver, or like you fight like another foreigner,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll pay you, right? Like to be a pro, it's like, okay, yeah, sure. If you're getting paid, you can be categorized as pro, right? But do you like consider CM Punk pro? I don't think so. Right? He gets paid like a pro.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, I don't feel like I'm really at that pro level until like I get to fight at Lupini with the Thai. But every time I fought, every pro fight I fought, 2 times in Thailand, I fought Thai. Yeah. The first Thai I fought, I knocked him out at round 2. He had 30 fights. So I was pretty big underdog.
Mm-hmm.
I even got KO bonus for that. And then the second fight, I got TKO'd. But then he was at 100 fights. Wow. And he was 20 pounds heavier than me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that is allowed? Like someone can be 20 pounds heavier than you?
Yeah. So they just like look at you. They just look at you, go like, yeah, you're about it.
What?
Yeah. There's no way in. There's only a way in when there's a championship fight.
Wow. I guess you hear so many stories of like foreigners getting set up and stuff. I guess, you know, that's some ways they can get set up. It's like, yeah. Okay.
Definitely, if you're fighting a Thai, the odds are against you unless he was just like a tuk-tuk driver. Yeah. And especially my first fight there, the promoter knew me from knocking out that Thai. Mm-hmm. So he was like, oh, this guy can probably hold his own, right? So let's just get someone.
So they got you a guy with 100 fights. Jeez.
So I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. That was your second fight, or if you count the Xiaodong one, that was your third fight. It was the guy's 100th fight. Wow.
But I came from like tournament background,
mm-hmm.
so like I don't really like look at my like opponent, you know, because it could be anyone.
Yeah. It
could be like 1 out of like 5 people.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I'm like whatever happens, whatever comes, you know. So yeah. So it wasn't like one of the like my record isn't like one of those like okay I'm going to like fight like 10 like really like shit guys or whatever, and then like I'm like 10-0, you know.
Yeah.
So my record is definitely not padded.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. So tell me about that first like quote unquote pro fight. How did it feel to walk in? Now it's like a pro fight, and like what was different about it, if anything?
Okay, what was different about it? I was warming up right beside my opponent.
Wow.
so it's just like, what's he doing? And he's like, looking at me, what is he doing? Thailand, let's see. Yeah, of course it's a lot different because in Thailand you always have to like basically call off the round 1, right? So round 1 basically means nothing. Oh. And then So the reason why, if you knock the guy out in round 1, you'll actually get bitched at like really hard.
What?
Yeah. Because what happens is that like after round 1, they look at your style, look at your nerves, look at like, you know, how well your hips move and everything. Then everyone places their bet, right?
Oh.
Yeah. So like that's why they can like hold fights every single day because of the gambling. And gambling is actually illegal in Thailand, but it's not really illegal in Muay Thai stadiums. Okay. Only in Muay Thai stadiums, right? Because like obviously the cops gonna just like whatever, right?
Yeah.
So round 1 they call it. You basically call it off. You just dance around, just teep the guy, jab the guy. Don't go too hard.
Mm-hmm.
By round 2, you kind of go a little bit. You pick it up a bit. But round 3 and round 4 are the scoring rounds. So meaning like round 3, it's a scoring round, but not as high as round 4. So meaning like if you win round 3 and 4, you win the whole fight, no matter what. Yeah. And round 5, usually if you're winning, but let's say for me, I'm a 4th fighter, right? And I'm winning round 2, 3, and 4, then that means by round 5, I'm not going forward. I'm actually running around because I'm basically expressing to the crowd that I won this fight. You have to chase me. You have to knock me out.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a storytelling, right? It's kind of like storytelling.
Interesting. I like that in a way. In a way, like, I wish the round one wasn't like, oh, you can't really take this one too seriously. But I like the kind of the story arc. It's like, well, I kind of dominated most of the game. You better shape it up in the last round.
Definitely. That's why you see a lot of foreigners that are not really like, I guess, informed. They go like really hard the first round, and then the Thai is just like relaxing, right?
Yeah.
And definitely like by round 3, round 4, the foreigners just like
yeah.
Oh, right. And that's where all the bookies make money too, because the bookies will actually purposely go up to the foreigner audience and go like, hey, you want to put money on the foreigner? Where obviously he's like winning on points, but there's no points, right? So I go like, you think this guy's going to win? And then they're like, yeah. Here's the odds, and then they put money down, and all of a sudden the Thai just like knocks the guy out. And then he's like, what the hell?
Wow, dude, that makes sense. It's like for the people who don't understand the culture, it's very easy to make money off them. It's like, look, first round, look at this guy. He like beating the Thai guy. Oh, come on, put your bets with me.
Or even the scoring system is a little bit like, well, actually not a little bit, it's a lot different, right? So punches don't really count unless they hurt you a lot or move you back.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's why you see a lot of Thais just like dance around and kick you, because that scores more. Yeah. And also knees and kicks score the most. Elbows score a lot too. Dumps score a lot. It shows dominance, balance, and just really even like a fighter that just danced around and like just kicked you here and there while you punch them, he'll win for sure.
Wow.
Yeah. During the scoring, scorecards. It's great.
Fascinating. Fascinating. How big is Muay Thai in Canada?
It's growing. It's actually growing. Actually, Canadian fighters are actually known to be very like versed in Muay Thai.
Yeah.
Whenever we go TBA, they go like, at least like a good number of Canadians will win.
Wow. Yeah.
Maybe it's the cold. The cold like builds grit in your system or something like that.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's our water. Our water is good. We can drink our tap water.
I've heard a lot of good things about Canadian. I've only been to Canada twice, and yeah, I from my experience drinking the water, it did taste okay. You know, LA water, tap water. I used to drink LA tap water. I stopped drinking LA tap water very quickly, like after a few months.
Yeah, the worst tap water was Orlando for me. It was just like there's this smell, stench that I just can't get used to it, right? And then it's like it's weird because we were in Disney, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know how like when this theme park, they like close off everything, so you have to when you're in it, whatever you eat, whatever you drink, it's from them, right? They sell you whatever, you have to eat it because you're trapped, right? And then they only sell Dasani water, which is like the worst water.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right? Dasani's the worst, right?
Yeah.
But then when we were there, the tap water was so bad. It's like, yo, send me the Dasani. Oh, I love that Dasani.
Yeah.
It's
I guess that's how they get you. It's like, well, it's all about relative, right? So relative, okay, I'll take the Dasani.
It's more supply and demand, right?
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy, bro. Tell me about what you plan on doing after this whole lockdown ends. You're going to continue competing in Muay Thai. Is that going to be your thing, or do you think you might want to try other sports, other competitions too, that other martial arts potentially?
Okay, so when I injured my knee, it was actually when I was trying out MMA.
Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah, MMA is different, a different like animal, man. There's like so many more variables, so that means there's so many more ways to get hurt.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get hurt during sparring, eh? I got hurt during like drills, just drills.
Wow.
Yeah. So what happened was like we were just doing takedown defense, and the guy tried to take me down, and I wouldn't let him, right? So I kind of posted my leg on the mat, and the mat was like sticky, so he fell on my knee.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man.
So basically like 180 pounds fell on my knee in a bad
Oh, man.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, people just ran over. It's like, yo, what was that pop? And I'm just like screaming like, ah!
Wow.
Yeah, really crazy, yeah.
Wow, it's crazy, man. Yeah, MMA is definitely a different creature. Like, even the difference between jiu-jitsu and MMA, right? MMA just like you totally understand why MMA, especially like the what people think about MMA, like UFC type of MMA, like that just leads to so much injury. It just leads to so much injury. It's like you roll with an MMA fighter who does jiu-jitsu versus a jiu-jitsu black belt. It's a different experience. Like the MMA fighter's like it's just like completely different in this like mentality, whereas the jiu-jitsu black belt's flowing, trying to like work on the leverage and the moves.
And especially MMA, like MMA fights. Oh my god, I love like the matchups, but I just don't even want to know, until the day of the weigh-in. I'm like, okay, it'll be happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Because they pull out because of knee injury, pull out because of weight cut, pull out because of like whatever, like what Ferguson, like wires.
Yeah. He just like fell and.
Like, don't get my hopes up. Like my heart has been broken like so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, but definitely after this coronavirus, like I really want to keep fighting. Mm-hmm. My last 2 fights, it's my first time I lost 2 in a row, but they were actually like my most important fights, right? Mm-hmm. My last fight, I was fighting my first A-class fight, meaning the guy was for A-class, I think it's like over 13 fights or over 10 fights or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I in total I have like 12 fights or something like that. They count demos now too. That's why I have 2 demos.
I see.
Yeah, definitely want to fight. Definitely I want to challenge Xiaodong.
I see. So that's definitely in the future.
Yeah.
Especially if Xiaodong, he's been to Canada, believe it or not. So next time he goes to Canada, we should put you guys in touch. You guys can have a much safer, much more referee type of fight.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you've gotten better, he's gotten better, and I think you've both put on probably weight, like muscle. So it's like it'll be interesting. I'm sure there's still gonna be a weight difference, but it's like how will you like deal with that and everything?
Well, no. I'm 6'1", so I could go from like 70 kilo to like 85 kilo. I just go like that, right? Actually, the last fight, it was a pretty late notice, so I had like a week and a half to lose 15 real pounds, like real pounds, 10 pounds water weight. Day of, not day before. So basically, but here's the thing: when we like went like head up, right? Like I looked like I was 2 weight classes like heavier than him. Mm-hmm. Right? I definitely had the power advantage.
Wow.
Yeah. But that was a huge weight cut. Yeah, huge.
What do you think about like the weight cutting and stuff like that? It just every time I hear stories like that, it just makes me cringe so bad. Like, what do you think about like the cutting water weight and all that stuff?
I think one is doing a very good job with weight cutting regulation. Mm-hmm. So it's like everybody basically went up a weight class. Mm-hmm. In terms of like UFC. Yeah, they need some work on that. Yeah, people are really like pulling out fights. Like some people, like some camps, they'll just be like, okay, you're 5-10 pounds overweight, whatever. We'll still fight you. You know what I mean? Yeah. But some people would just be like, no. It's like, no, we're not doing it. Yeah. And that just like ruins it for everyone, like everyone. Yeah. Definitely, like I'll always try to make weight. And I believe like making weight reflects on your like professionalism and like your credibility. Yeah, as for the promoter and the promoter.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you see potentially one day you might try to like fight for ONE FC or something like that, or?
Yeah, ONE FC, they do have kickboxing and Muay Thai. Mm-hmm. Maybe. Mm-hmm. I am interested. Yeah,
I see.
I feel like I need more fights under my belt. Mm-hmm. Maybe fight Xiaodong.
No, that's true. That would be interesting. I feel like we can make this happen. If Shuri can fight that Yoshiro, that like a Japanese cosplayer dude, I think we can make this happen, man.
Alright, so Xiaodong has like a reputation of fighting people that can't fight, like can't defend themselves, right? Mm-hmm. And then when he fought, who's that guy? Yoshiro?
Yeah, Yoshiro, I think is how you say it.
I guess Yoshiro is like ex-K1 champion and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
But he can't fight MMA. So technically he couldn't fight either. He didn't know what like a ground game was, you know what I mean? He couldn't like defend himself off the mount. Right? It was like just horrible. Like once it turned to MMA, it was just like it was done.
Yeah.
It was done. Like I knew it was done. Like Xiaodong, he's so big and just like went like that, I'm like over,
Yeah.
Yeah, so if Xiaodong's listening, so Xiaodong, right? 你欠我一把，我等你。
Wow. Okay. Good. Good to know. Good to know. For those of you who didn't understand, I just won't even translate it because that was for Xiaodong. So.
Yeah. Xiaodong.
Yep.
You
Awesome.
can put subtitles too. It's okay.
Yeah, definitely. For audience members, if you watch this, if this video gets to above 10,000 views, I'll reveal what Will said to Xiaodong in that little segment. Because, people keep requesting interviews, but for some reason the interviews just don't get as many views as I thought. So, one thing I've learned, unfortunately, with the YouTube journey is never trust your audience. Whenever they want something, you give it to them, they never appreciate it. I just don't understand why, but,
You learn the clickbait,
Yeah, I know. I gotta clickbait more. Man, my last question for you is, does your wife support you a lot in your martial art journey?
So, my last fight, no. Oh yeah, last fight in Thailand, right? I got cut. My 10th fight, I got 10 stitches right here, right? And I'm like, oh, that's a pretty cool cut, right? But she's like, if you get cut one more time, I'm not going to let you fight. Da, 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 da. But to me, it's like a pretty cool cut. Unless I get cut like straight down the middle. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh shit, maybe it's not a good idea. But actually, these cuts look pretty cool. I don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, they give you character, and normal people will look at you and be like, okay, I don't think I should mess with that guy.
I think it's kind of like a trophy. How like people have like cauliflower?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
You're a wrestler or you're jiu-jitsu or,
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, if you have a thick neck in general, people are like, okay, that guy probably trains in something that I don't train in. So, like, there's just things that, like, are kind of like trophies that just show that you've dedicated yourself to something.
Yeah.
Wow. And so does she still take lessons from you or train under you occasionally?
Well, she's a mother of two, so there's only so much time we have during the day. We, like, right now, we take shifts, right? Because our kids are just like, well, my daughter, my youngest one, she is almost 1. But yeah, she's very attached to her mom still, and she wakes up at night.
I see.
So basically, I take care of the kids in daytime. She takes care of the kids at night.
Wow.
Shifts, yeah.
Well,
but every kid's different. Some kids just like sleep through the night. Some kids like, every kid's different.
Yeah, parenting, man. Parenting changes a lot of things.
Yeah, it really does.
Wow. Do you think you'll have more kids, or is 2 okay for now?
She wants another one. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Exactly. Wow.
Definitely. Like, I need a more stable job if I have a third one.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Makes sense. Do you have any social media you want to share with people, or is that?
So Instagram is SnakeCharmer88 all together. I just made it, I think, last year, but I haven't really updated it too much, so I guess I'll start working on that.
Nice. That's a cool name, SnakeCharmer88.
SnakeCharmer88. That's actually my fight nickname. So the Thais, they call me Snake Charmer. The Chinese people call me Kid Anime. so Kid Anime, like Manhua Di.
Manhua Di, okay.
Yeah, those like Kid Tyson. I mean, no, Kid Dynamite, Kid Yamamoto, and then I'm like Kid Anime. They think I look like manhua.
It's right? Because of the hair, right? You think so?
Yeah, maybe because of the hair. Maybe like I guess my personality as well.
Your jaw's very square too. So like in anime, a lot of times when they draw like manly characters, they'll draw the square jaw. So maybe that too.
And the Thais call me Snake Charmer because I usually make my opponent fight my pace. Meaning, like, let's say if they're like really fast paced Dutch style, I basically slow them down, right? And yeah, so I try to make them fight my pace so I can pace myself. Makes sense. To be honest, yeah.
And that is a very good game plan. It's like they play into your game.
Yeah, definitely. Snake Charmer, it was given to me at TBA when my Thai coach saw the fight. It was against this MMA guy, but he had like 7-0 with 2 knockouts, and I was actually pretty intimidated by his record. So I was like, oh shit, this is going to be a freaking fight. And after the first round, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to beat this guy. And I didn't take a lot of damage too, because it was the first fight. And so the first fight, I just really wanted to overexposed myself and I did too much damage. It was on one of your highlights. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sounds good. And I'll show the audiences that again because I think I still have those files.
Yeah.
And I think there's something really important that you touch at too, which is so much of the fight game. If you're prepared and qualified to fight, which doesn't happen a lot in China, it seems like there's a lot of unqualified fighters. But if you're qualified to fight, so much of it is mental. Right, fighters win or lose. A lot of times it's all mental. Like you were talking about, oh yeah, dude, he was 7-0. But I had all these experiences before. I was like, nope, I'm not gonna let that intimidate me. Like so many fighters, even in UFC, like Conor's the best at playing those games. He'll just get his opponent to respond the way he wants them to respond, and then he wins.
Yeah, definitely. Mentality is like a very if not the biggest factor. Because I see in the gym, like guys like hit pads, and I'm just like, whoa, this guy's like a monster. You know what I mean? He's going to become he's like a prodigy or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I see him play a demo, I'm just like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
And then I see another guy, right, hitting pads like so shit. He's so bad, right? And then you're just like, oh, this guy's going to get killed. He goes to his demo and just wrecks the guy. So I'm just like, no, you never know. You really never know. And styles actually do make fights, right?
Yeah.
So even if you put two really good guys together, it's a shittiest fight because they cancel out or something.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's another good lesson for people too. Like certain people who are coaches are not good fighters, and certain people who are good fighters are not good coaches. Because just like you said, the guy could be doing the moves amazingly, but sometimes just in the ring under pressure, he just doesn't put it together well. Doesn't mean you shouldn't learn the moves from him. You probably will learn the form and the function and the structure better under him than someone who can fight, but isn't the best in the form, like you said, hitting the pads badly. So it's like you really have to look on it at a case by case basis. Don't just look at a fighter and be like, oh, he was a good fighter, okay, therefore I should train under him.
Yeah, definitely. I experienced that personally. I've trained with a really good fight. They're amazing fighters, right? He's just really good. He jabs really well. Let's say he knees very well, right? But you don't know why they do it. They just do it naturally. So I feel like a good coach would be able to teach you how to do it, when to do it, but why to do it. Why are you doing it, right? And I believe really good fighters, and they're just okay coaches, they don't really touch on why, because they just naturally do it. They don't know why they do it. They just they're just so good. It's just natural for them, right? So I believe that guys that really start from rock bottom, or even more of a negative, right, will actually be way better coaches. Right? They know that step by step. I was here, and then I went to here. Not I was already here, so I can only teach you whatever, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Wow. Dude, I guess your Instagram name is Bill. I've always called you Will. Do you go by Bill or Will?
Well, the Thais call me Bill because they can't pronounce Will.
That's so interesting.
But Bill is a short form for William.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Bill, Will, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
What is it in the W sound that the Thais can't say?
Okay, so I don't know. You gotta ask why.
So do they say it we or something, or
they'll call me okay, if they try they'll be like Will, Will. And then all of a sudden they'll start saying it more often, and then it'll just morph into Bill. Right? So I say, okay, whatever, man.
Dude, that's so funny. Yeah, so dude, let's definitely have you back. I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions in the comment section, so we're going to have you back and answer some more of those questions and stuff like that, and then we can go from there. I mean, this was a great conversation, and dude, again, thank you for coming on. I know, initially my channel, it seemed to portray you in a negative light because, again, we didn't understand the situation too. We just thought the Chinese coverage was correct. So, again, thank you. You reached out to us, and then, we got to just tell your side of the story and clarify certain things.
Yeah. Thanks for having me too, man.
Definitely. So, guys, Bill or Will, whichever one, I will put some of the links and stuff he talked about, and I will give his Instagram so you guys can go follow him. Again, guys, if I give his Instagram, I'm going to ask people on this channel, go follow him, please. I ask you guys,
you can like critique him, but please don't go like smack talking, etc. You know, maybe 2 years ago, I would have like not been as explicit about this, but now I'm a little older. I don't like when my audience goes and like ruins the vibe of something. So please, if you're gonna go over to his channel, just follow him, talk to him. Don't like be like, oh, Xiaodong beat you, or yo, you're not gonna be Xiaodong. You know, please don't do that kind of stuff. I'm gonna ask you guys nicely.
Well, any attention's good attention. Any good media is good in media, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess a certain phase in your life you have to take that approach, but try to get out of it, just from my experience, try to get out of it as quick as possible, because it ruins the growth of like from your channel or anything, your brand going from medium to big. And so it's like, I realize that now. It's just like, and I understand why, like, for example, you know, people like Fight Tip, Shane Faison and stuff, he got so big. I mean, Shane Faison always avoids any kind of negativity and stuff like that, and props to him.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I follow him too.
Yeah, he's great. I met him once, and unfortunately, like, one of the guys I was with was kind of like a very almost like Xiaodong-esque type of personality, and like Shane's like, okay, I'm gonna keep Jerry a little bit far. I don't blame him. I don't blame you, Shane. I don't even hang out with that guy anymore. Okay, Shane. Yeah. So, anyways, Will, thank you again. I'm gonna stop recording now. We can continue talking after this, but for everyone, Fight Commentary Breakdowns. You know, there's a reason you guys like my channel, I hope. It's because we give you cool stuff like this. So go follow Will. We'll have him back. Leave your comments, etc. So thank you, Will. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.